It is sponsored by... That's not it.
Eager Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn, Issue 3 is now on Kickstarter. Eager Raven, a half-unicorn, half-human princess, is forced from her enchanted kingdom of Edenron into one of the outer kingdoms of men. Eager Raven is unsure how she can help her people, but a chance encounter with a noblewoman and her unusual lady-in-waiting reveals a path more treacherous than fighting the Dragon Lords themselves. Please check out Eager Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn on Kickstarter today.
What's up, George? What's going on in the House of Craze today?
Tonight we have a returning guest, Mr. Grant Lankard, and he will be talking about Memoirs of Morbid, which is his new Kickstarter that's live now.
Let's get it!
We are the only show for independents all around, giving you a platform to spread your word all over town. Catch the Craze is the place to promote to your fans with the Dreamer, Medina, and Sam the Crazy Man. Subscribe to our show and never miss an episode. It's time to get your mans, listen to us on the go. Updated every week, we never miss a day. Join the squad, come on in. It's time to catch the Craze. If you are an independent, catch the Craze. Making moves on your own, catch the Craze. On your grind in the streets, catch the Craze. Join the movement, catch the Craze.
Yeah, George, we did it again. Come on now. You know you want to do it. Catch the Craze. Welcome to Catch the Craze Podcast. I am your host with the most, Sam the Crazy Man Vera, and I am with
George the Dreamer, Medina. What's happening, Sam? What's going on, dog? Welcome, everyone, to another exciting episode of Catch the Craze. We are live once again. We have a Kickstarter guest, Mr. Grant Lankard. He will be on the show. We're going to be talking to him about his anthology. But what's happening with you, Sam?
What's happening? I've been busy, bro. Been busy. I just want to put out there, if anybody's seen a post earlier for a guest for the 8 o'clock show, unfortunately, the guest couldn't make it, so we pulled that from the roster. So there will not be an 8 o'clock show. It will just be the 7 o'clock show. And so I just want to put that out there. But yeah, just been getting ready for the forbidden lunch. The forbidden lunch.
Bro. That's what's up. Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that forbidden lunch.
Forbidden lunch, yes. Yes. I'm getting ready for the forbidden lunch on November 1st. I'm excited. A lot of great things. It's the first volume of the graphic novel, as well as issue number 2, which is 32 pages with some great covers. We have an exclusive cover for Indiegogo. We have an exclusive cover for Kickstarter. We have a variant cover by John Coates. We have a crossover promotion with Philip Russert in Tragedy. Artwork done by me. It's going to be an incentive if we get to a specific backer goal. Join us 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, November 1st, here on Catch the Craze, 8 p.m., as we talk about all those great things, plus much, much more. This is going to be an amazing campaign, and we need you all to spread the word because we really want to exceed the 100 backer mark.
That's right. That's right. And I have a little homework for everyone watching. This is what you need to do. You need to go to you're on our channel, but if you're not on that channel, come to our channel, hit the subscribe button so you get alerts when we go live on episodes like we are tonight, and make sure that you comment, like, and do all of that good stuff. Also, and I don't know if you're going to have it, you probably will, Sam, but make sure that you are following the landing/launch page for Forbidden so that you also get notified when that goes live. As soon as it goes live and you get notified, you have to follow it. Just hit follow, go to our Kickstarter, hit follow, and as soon as that thing goes live, boom, you'll be one of the first to be notified.
Absolutely.
And, it's going to be good.
And just also, by the way, in the link, in the summary, Don't forget, today is the last day. We're the last 22 hours, I believe, or 20 for Daphne Lage, Eagle Raven. She is the sponsor of this episode, and several other. You probably saw her promo in the beginning of the show and the beginning of many of our shows, because she sponsors multiple shows to promote her campaign, and she's close to the $5,000 mark. So she's really killing it. So if you have a campaign out there and you're trying to get the word out, we have affordable packages for you to send us a video promo, and we will play it, and you get sponsorship credits. Not only that, not only do we play it on the show, but every guest that we have that your video is shown on, we actually post that and reference you as the sponsor and tag you and your Kickstarter campaign. So you're not only getting it on your video on the show, but you're also getting it in all the social platforms that we post on. So it's a multi-pronged approach for really cheap and affordable sponsorship rates. So you think about it, that date night that you're going to have with your girl or your boyfriend, you know, at the end of that date night, you think about you sponsor 4 shows. That's half of what you're going to pay for your date night. You know, if you talk about dinner and a movie, you're paying less than that just to promote your product with Cast the Craze podcast, the fastest growing indie podcast out there.
Yeah, speaking of growing, we're about 440 subscribers right now. So big shout out to all 440 of you who are following us and have subscribed to the channel. Thank you very, very much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the road to 1,000 continues. So help us get there before the end of the year. Let's see what happens, you know?
Yes, and to all the indie creators out there that have been guests on the show, who have paid homage and subscribed to the channel and encouraged their followers, we appreciate you as well. Because the more we grow, the bigger the audience that you get when you come on the show. And that's the purpose of what we're doing it. And we're not a fly-by-night. You know, Cast the Craze started in 2006. So we've been here for a minute. And, you know, we're going to be celebrating our 400th episode very soon. So it's
creeping up.
It's creeping.
People are probably like, yo, since 2006 and you guys only have 440 subscribers.
That's when we went on a long vacation. That's because I went overseas. I was locked up in a prison in a foreign country for 10 years. And George went on a sabbatical on Fantasy Island, and then we regrouped. And after a decade, and we're back. So this is exciting.
But then when you come back, you got to start from the bottom. So we had to start from 0.
Started from the bottom. Now we're here.
We started from 0 subscribers. And I remember we were talking about this earlier. I remember being stuck on like 55 or 65 subscribers. Like, I don't know what the number was. We're like, yo,
for like 8 months.
Are we ever going to make it to 100? Like, when are we going to get to 100?
And when we got to 100, we're like, Hercules.
It was a celebration, kid. It was a celebration. But here we are, chugging along. It takes a while. It's not easy, but you know, we're consistent. Every Friday, you guys will get a brand new show. Sammy's doing his thing with his Craze in 10 or less. If you've been missing that, I don't know what you're doing, because you got some really, really cool tips on there on how to try to make money back at conventions after you already have spent over $2,000. So the breakdown is all on there. Very, very entertaining. Last 3 shows, I think it was. It's like it's gonna be like a 4 or 5 part or something. Yeah. Mark Torres, big shout out to him. Wants a 10 part.
He wants 10 episodes or less. He wants me to drag this one on.
He wants to go on forever.
You know what it is? Because I keep plugging him. Yeah, he goes, yeah, she shouted me out.
Big shout out. Hey, listen, shout out to Mark Torres. He is the host of It Came From the Radio, a syndicated radio show that also has been around for a very long time. It's been around as long as even before we were. He started
out with what was the name of the show?
I don't know. Mark, if you're watching, you gotta let us
I
know
always
in the
forget
comments
that
what the
damn
name
thing.
of the show was.
Yeah.
So
Mark had us on, back in 05, 06, 07, he had us on his radio show in Long Island. We had to drive out there. We got lost. We got a flat. I don't know. Some crazy stuff happened in the middle of the night.
Some accident.
We ended up at a diner. All I remember is that Mark packs his food in his cheek like a hamster.
Okay.
And so when he eats, it's like it's packed up right here. I was like, you saving that for winter?
Oh man, listen, Mark's a busy man. He's on the move. You know what I mean?
I know.
You got no time.
Oh, you crazy?
So something that most people might not know is that Mark Torres is a very good writer. He's got a book called The Chosen Few
Yes.
that I actually have a copy of. I ordered it.
He's talking about us.
Yeah, The Chosen Few, and it's a very, very good book, man. It's the first issue of a long story that he's been working on. We had him on the show a few months back, and he was talking about it. But yeah, very good book, man. I read it. I enjoyed it. If you guys are go to indieplanet.com.
Yeah, he's one of the unsung heroes. I mean, he's one of the guys that he's like the biggest champion of comic books. Very versed in the subject matter. A true fanboy by heart and a big supporter of the small guy. And I'm glad that we can say he's a buddy of ours. I'm glad to know him. I mean, he gave me my first interview when I decided to come back into comics after a 10-year hiatus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I thought that was pretty exciting to announce the comeback of. It's like I didn't even know what I was gonna say. I was like, how am I going to come back? So that was awesome.
Nah, he's awesome. A good guy, man. He's a good guy. So if you guys don't already, go to he's on iHeartRadio. That's why I listen to it on iHeartRadio. Just type in It Came From the Radio, and it's a syndicated program. It's on every Monday. I believe he's got a new episode every Monday. So yeah, so check that out. He's got some cool stuff on there. Very funny, and very well done. It's the production value on the show is top.
Now, does he still do it in studio where everybody has to drive out there?
I think they're doing it via like this. I mean, it's a radio show, so,
right, so you can call
there isn't any. Yeah, so I think it's all call in. I don't know if they're in a studio. I'm not
because when I went, they were in a studio.
Yeah. That's usually how he did it. But I don't know if if they're going into the studio or they just kept it like we are right now.
I mean, it was a radio station. I mean, when you walk in, you had a reception area, then you had the room, and then they had their break room. It was pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. I remember it was one of the first shows we did as Crazy Comics, and I was like, yo, we made it. Like, you walk in there, you're like, oh, we're on the radio. Like, we are legit on the radio. So, yeah, no, it's cool, man. He's been around for a long time.
On the radio. On the radio. Remember that?
Like I say, he was on the show. He was on the show a few months back. Grant Larkin was also on the show, episode 241. So if you guys want to go back to the archives and listen to the first interview we did on him, it was back episode 241. And he was talking about a book called Beowulf, which he crowdfunded as well. 2 issues were crowdfunded on Kickstarter. Don't know where he is with that one, but he's now got an anthology series called what was the name of the anthology series? Let me see if I can.
Memoirs of the Morbid.
Ah, there it is. Yeah, Memoirs of the Morbid. So.
Yes, he has 12 days to go, 72 backers. The goal is 4,000. They got 2,843. So they're about $1,137 away from making the goal. I mean, based on 72 backers, it looks like he should be able to do it. If he did 70% or 65% in the first half, he should be able to do the remaining 35% in the last half. Yes.
Yeah. Yep. The campaign ends.
That's
on
me.
Sunday,
that's
October
that's
31st.
me with my retail math mind.
Yeah.
But so we're gonna bring Grant into the show in a minute. But if you don't even know what the hell I'm talking about when it comes to Forbidden, we're gonna cut to a commercial, and when we come back, we're gonna bring him into the studio.
He kills his father. A curse on his people. Betraying his family in search of the truth. Awakening the evil behind the curse. Now they must race to save their people. Or die trying.
So let's bring in our guest. There he is. It's the return of the Mac.
Audio's coming in. You see the bouncing? There he is. What's up, Grant?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Welcome back, Carter.
How you doing?
Thanks for having me back.
Not a
Yeah,
problem.
no, of course. And welcome back, everyone. Also, we are here with Grant Lankard, and he's got a new project out right now on Kickstarter. I see the Beowulf poster back there. Very good book, Grant. Very good book,
Thanks.
man.
Yeah.
But before we get into anything else, for all those who missed your first interview, give us a brief intro into who Grant Lankard is.
So I've been reading comic books since I was a very young kid. I got into comic books basically through all the speculator books, like if you remember X-Men #1 and stuff like that, all the Image guys. I wanted to be a comic book creator, but everybody told me that you can't make a career out of that. So I went to school for graphic design instead and found it very, very unrewarding. So when the pandemic hit, I was like, you know what? I'm going to try to do my dream of making a comic book. We successfully funded 2 issues of Beowulf on Kickstarter. Don't worry, issue #3 is almost done.
Nice.
I think I'm going to wait until after the holidays to try to crowdsource it, though, just because everybody tells me that crowdsourcing stuff during Christmas is a nightmare. So in the meanwhile, I am working on an anthology called Memoirs of the Morbid.
That's right.
Memoirs of the... Oh, sorry.
No. I was just gonna say, that is the new project. The Beowulf project, man. It really. I read the first 2 issues. Very, very well done.
Thanks.
You said you're a graphic designer, but did you at some point maybe took any creative writing classes, or was this just straight up passion? It's just what you wanted to do, and you kind of like read books on writing scripts for comics and stuff.
Yeah.
Tell us about your writing journey.
I was always also very interested in English class and creative writing classes and stuff like that. That was always the goal, just because, like I said, I grew up in the era of like Todd McFarlane and Eric Larson and guys like that. They didn't want to just write the comic book. They also wanted to, or they didn't want to just draw it. They wanted to write it too.
Right.
So those guys were really my role models growing up.
Yeah. Did you dabble in any artwork with, like, I'm talking about not just digital, but like, just old school, just pen to paper?
Yeah. So, I inked and colored the first 2 issues of Beowulf, and I also draw some of the segments of Memoirs of the Morbid. I'm doing the in between like story, like I guess I don't know how to put it other than the in between story, like the narrator scenes, like the wraparound story.
I gotcha. Yeah, I saw that you have like a narrator in there, almost like a crypt keeper, right, kind of thing. So for those who are watching and just tuned in, we are talking to Grant Lankard. We're talking to him about his book, Memoirs of the Morbid. It's an anthology on Kickstarter right now. It's being crowdfunded on Kickstarter, and you're about 12 days left of it. You're 71% of it already already funded, so we're still looking for that 29%. So if you guys are watching, make sure you get a Kickstarter and go to Memoirs of the Morbid to help them crowdfunded.
It's definitely going to be a close one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were doing the math in our head on the pre-show, and based on the fact that the bulk of it was done in the first half, it looks like you should be able to make that goal on the second half on your second lap. But your covers are freaking amazing. Like, I'm looking at all the covers, straight up classic horror covers, but they all were done very nicely. How much of the art direction did you have with regards to the look of the covers?
I think for the most part, I came up with the ideas, and then I kind of floated them past the artists, and then they kind of put in their 2 cents. We're probably more like 20 or 30 cents. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, all of the art on especially the covers, the artists that we hired to do the covers, I got really lucky with the artists. I basically these were all guys who I'd been following on Twitter, and I thought, you know what, there's no way in hell these guys are going to want to work with me, but I might as well ask anyways. And some people did turn me down, but a lot of them were like, yeah, sure, I'll do it for you.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I think the cover by Clay McCormick, with the squirrel eating, and about to be shot with, that. I think that one's one of my favorites,
yeah.
and
Yeah, that's cool.
the first one, by Simone,
Yeah.
that one's, I love that cover in itself. I mean, it's very nostalgic, the kid reading the comic book, and and it comes to life, that whole thing.
Night comes to
Right.
That was, and I love the camera angles there too.
Yeah. So just to clarify for everybody, Grant, so this is an anthology. It's got 5 stories within a 60-page book. So tell us a little bit about the format, and just break down the stories for us that people will be seeing or could read inside this graphic novel.
Okay, so the first story, which was the cover that you were just talking about, the trench coat killer.
Right.
That's about a kind of a troubled teenager. He's showing signs of like having maybe a few psychological problems. And then he starts thinking that his comic book is coming to life. And it's kind of kept ambiguous till the end whether the comic book, when I say the comic book is coming to life, stuff that happens in real life starts happening in the comic book and vice versa. So he starts thinking, am I cracking up, or is the comic book actually coming to life? And we keep it ambiguous up until the very last page.
Cool. And
Nice.
did you wrote that? Like you wrote all 5, right?
No, I wrote
okay.
that story, and that was and Valentina Perone drew that one.
Okay. And then so that's the trench coat killer. Now you also have one called the Succession Clause. So tell us about that one.
So the Succession Clause is written and drawn by my friend Dave Schuler. He was the guy that I went to college with. What the Succession Clause is about is it's about a guy who discovers this knife that has like a gem on it, and like on the hilt it has a gem on it, and the knife will give you great power, but it also kind of steals your soul away. And if you look at the cover, there's a lot of guys, like there's a red background and there all these people yelling. Those are all the souls that are like trapped in this knife.
Yeah, that's well done too, man.
Yeah.
Look at that. Yeah, it's got like an eye, right? Like the knife's got like almost like an eye in the center of it.
Exactly.
Looks cool. Yeah, no, it looks cool as hell. Sam was talking about the one with the squirrel on the cover, coaxial. Tell us about that one.
So coaxial is the story of a virus that is sweeping the nation that turns animals into bloodthirsty creatures.
That
So
sucks.
If you see the lady in the background, she's kind of hugging her cat.
Cat, yeah.
She's really, really worried that this cat is going to get this virus. And obviously there are parallels to, kind of the situation we're going through right now with the whole pandemic.
Yeah, I think that's the next step. I mean, between us becoming flesh-eating zombies, who knows?
Well, Sam just moved to Texas, and he's talking. There's a bobcat in the area.
Bobcat, a cougar, and coyotes.
So he's almost like that cover that you got there, Grant, where where the lady's holding her cat. That's Sam holding his dogs, and the bobcat and the cougars are outside trying to get him.
It's
So
crazy.
Oh my gosh.
So he's
crazy.
living that nightmare right
Yes.
now, dude.
So do you live out in the country, or is this?
No, I live
like-
by a lake, and so there's been a bobcat got 2 cats, neighbors' cats. Cougar got somebody's dog, and there's been a pack of coyotes running around, and so now so when I walk my dog, she's always hearing or senses it, so I'm like, all right, we got to speed it up,
geez.
so every time I let
That's
my dogs
scary,
in the
bro.
yard, I have to go out first, check it. It's just been crazy.
I'd be
Yeah,
so
I know.
scared. Yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, man. So then you have 2 more here. You have Do-Gooder, which is a kind of cool, cover with this guy who looks like a do-gooder, right? But in the background, his shadow tells a different story. So tell us about that one.
So Do-Gooder is the story of a monster that kind of moves from the sites of natural disaster. He moves from site to site. And the guy on the cover, the main character, is kind of feeling like this monster is stalking him. And I won't give away the ending.
Gotcha.
But you know, that's how, I didn't pick up on the shadow until you mentioned it. I just saw the guy standing there, and I moved on to the next cover, and I just realized, oh, that's really cool.
yeah. And then you have one called Kisses Cold as the Grave. What's that one about?
So Kisses Cold as the Grave, that's kind of a nostalgic story. It kind of has a little bit more of like a 50s or a 60s feel to it. It takes place in Golden Age Hollywood. It's about a leading man who has a dark secret. And by the end of the story, you'll find out what that dark secret is.
Yeah, dude, Grant, these sound very, very intriguing. So you've collaborated with writers and artists on this book, correct? So obviously you told us about the Twitter and you mentioned, hey guys, you guys want to work with me on this. How did you get the writers involved? And were you kind of like the guy running point saying, okay guys, we got this story, you're going to draw this? Tell us a little bit about how that process worked.
So basically, these are a lot of people that I had been watching, like on Twitter. I'd been on Twitter kind of Twitter stalking people who seemed successful to me, trying to figure out how can I replicate that success.
Oh, that's you.
Right. Well, I think that's everybody, right?
I know.
So, most of the people who I asked to be writers on this were people who I messaged early on asking for advice and weren't immediately just like, stop bothering me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, I was just looking through this when as you were saying that, and I'm seeing some of the sample pages that you have up on the Kickstarter. Again, we're talking to Grant Lankard. For everybody who is watching, he's got a Kickstarter right now that you guys should go pledge to. It's called Memoirs of the Morbid. It's a 60-plus page black and white horror anthology consisting of 5 self-contained stories in the style of EC Comics. So was that sort of like the almost like what inspired you, like the EC Comics feel, like that kind of thing? Is that what you were going for here?
Exactly. Yeah. So it's not like slavishly loyal to it. There was no point when I wanted the writers to have freedom. So I didn't say like, oh no, you can't do that, because they wouldn't have done that in the EC Comics. But I would say overall, just the general style, kind of the way the comic book is put together, like with a narrator. I mean, if you look at the covers, that's very, very, very reminiscent of the old EC Comics, with the 4 circles on the side and then like a big like block of text at the top.
Nice.
I actually like the design, the way you did the covers, and they're all kind of like. Now, do you get obviously you get an option of which cover you want, based on the on each tier? Like you have a tier for each cover. Is that how we're working it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. And for everybody who's watching, and we had Grant tell us exactly what each story was about. If you go to the campaign, he actually does also have a little synopsis of each story underneath each image here, and there's a lot of really cool images. I do like the narrator, the Ghoul Master. I like that. Who designed that? Is that something that maybe one of the artists designed, or is that something that came out of your creativity?
Yeah, I did the Ghoul Master.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a cool looking character. Now, is this Memoirs of the Morbid? I see that you have here. It's going to be a semi-annual kind of thing. Are you already developing more stories for this? Is this going to be ongoing, where it's almost like like you said, semi-annually you're going to be releasing these?
I mean, I always have a million ideas in my head.
Yeah.
I probably have enough ideas for Memoirs of the Morbid stories to last me till I'm like 90.
Nice.
How many pages is each story? Pretty much like about 12, 10, 12, something like
Yeah,
that.
about 10 to 12.
Yeah.
I'd say on average.
Nice.
Nice. So,
Yeah.
talk about the reason for going this approach, because it's very different from Beowulf, and then your thought process on it, and then who are some of your horror writers that you follow, that you appreciate?
So, yeah, so this is a lot different than Beowulf. And I'm thinking now maybe I probably would have made more money if I'd stayed in the same genre. But, the heart wants what it wants. I always have liked a lot of different genres of comic books and books and movies.
Right.
I like horror. I like fantasy. Obviously, Beowulf is more on the fantasy side of things. I don't know. I had ideas for horror stories, and I've always enjoyed horror, so I figured I would give this comic book a shot.
So, what are some of your favorite horrors?
So, as far as comic books go, I think my favorite comic book creator when it comes to horror is probably Bernie Wrightson. He just did a lot of really great, really gross stuff. More recent comic books that I've read that I liked Lock and Key.
Yeah, that was good.
Either of you guys read that?
Yeah, it was really good.
I'm trying to think other recent horror comic books.
What about movies?
Probably my favorite horror movie is The Shining.
Yeah. Yeah, are you more into like the whole psychological side of horror, or are you more about the gore and the gut side of horror? Like, where do you lean, or are you somewhere in the middle where like it has its place, both of those things?
So I'm more into the psychological side. My story, The Trenchcoat Killer, was actually really influenced by The Twilight Zone, and I really like that style of horror as well. Just the idea of like, okay, something weird is going on here, but we're not sure what it is yet. But by the end of the episode, they're gonna figure it out, and it's gonna be something weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you find that writing horror is harder than writing fantasy?
I think it can be harder to come up with ideas for horror. And I think that comes from, you have to like really look inside yourself to think like, okay, what is it that scares me?
Right. Yeah. I think that, and I think it's the same for comedy. I think because what scares me may not scare you, or what scares you may not scare me. What scares Sam may not scare. So it's all subjective, right? Same thing with comedy. You may find something funny that I don't. I may find something funny that you don't. And so, to me, that's the challenge to writing horror, right? And so when you look into your mind and you think about what scares you, do you find that, just from people reading your stuff, do you find that you're kind of hitting those things where like, oh shoot, it's more than just, it scares more than just me?
So one of the things that really scares me that I tried to put into this comic book is kind of, if you can figure out a way to make the horror feel real. And one of the ways that I did that was I wrote a story about a kid reading a comic book. So obviously, if you're sitting there reading this comic book about this story about a kid reading a comic book, you have at least one thing in common with this kid, So, I think that the scariest horror is the stuff that hits home for you.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think it's part of the reason why, like, I'll watch, obviously The Exorcist when I was younger. I watched that, scared me as a little kid, right? But then what scared me, I don't know if you guys have watched this movie, but you ever seen the what is it? It's about this girl who's possessed by the devil, but the story, it's about the possession of Emily Rose.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
Yes, that thing. Honestly, that thing creeped me out, bro. Like it's because it's more than just a possession story, right? It's got a courtroom scene. It's got it's creepy because at 3, I think it's like at 3:33 in the morning every night something happened to that girl, And now you go to bed thinking, yo, at 3:33, what the hell's gonna happen? So that's the kind of stuff that kind of freaks me out when it comes to horror. And that's some of the stuff that, as a writer, you got to keep in mind. Like, okay, I got to keep that stuff because, like you said, it's got to be something that you feel like I'm involved. You know, and I think that's the tough. It's tough. It's a tough genre. It really is. It really. So when you pull it off, it really pays. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So,
I think you're right.
Yeah, so Michael San Martino says Sanctum and The Descent are pretty horrific. You know what's crazy? When I was a kid, Phantasm scared me. Remember Phantasm?
Oh, with the metal balls.
Yes.
And the tall guy.
Yes, boy. Yeah.
See, I don't know. I thought the metal balls were cool looking, but I don't know if I actually found them scary.
Oh, when I was a kid, I was that creeped me out.
That's the thing. See,
That
like,
and
what
Evil
scares
Dead.
you- yeah, what
Evil
scares
Dead
you, you know.
scared the crap out of me.
See, I thought Evil Dead was funny.
Oh hell no! When I saw that, I was like, oh no.
Grant, what's been the movie that like scared you? Like you could say, yo, that put a scare in me.
So when I was 13 years old, my parents went to a Halloween party and left me at home alone. And this was back in the day where you had to have a TV guide.
Mm-hmm.
So like I was looking through the TV guide, and the entry for this movie, all it said was horror, 3 out of 4 stars, starring Jack Nicholson.
Uh-huh.
So I went into watching this movie with no expectations, and it turned out to be The Shining.
Right, yeah.
Which I remember for weeks after that just being so freaked out, like not being able to sleep, just constantly like trying to talk to my parents about it, like being like, God, that movie was so scary.
What was the scene that really like that stayed with you?
I think it's the scene where I think it's actually the scenes where he's like nice to his son, because you know how it's gonna end.
Right, yeah.
I think that's what's so scary about it. The fact that like a person can snap like that and just go from like a loving father to being an axe murderer.
Yeah, I didn't know there was a sequel to The Shining. Michael says Dr. Sleep.
Dr. Sleep.
I just watched it recently. It's not as bad as you would think.
Oh.
Really? I never saw. I wanted to see it and I never did because it's not a prequel. It's like it's a sequel. So it's years after the fact, right?
Right.
But yeah, no, I remember watching that movie, dude, and like recently, I didn't even watch this thing when it first came out. I just watched it recently, just because like it's a shine. Here's Johnny, you know, like that's the scene everybody remembers, and it is creepy, man. It is creepy because it's like you said, it's something that can actually does happen. Look at the whole Gabby Petito situation. You know what I'm saying? Here's this guy, seemed like a normal dude. The family thought he was great. And boom, ended up, you know, we don't know that he did it, but you know, stuff like that happens. So
yeah, you have to legally.
Yeah. We don't know, allegedly. You know what I mean? But yeah, no.
The opinions of George Medina.
We're about to get. This will be the last interview.
Right.
But yeah, no. So Grant, so tell us a little bit more about what you learned from your past, Kickstarter campaigns that you're applying to this. What are some of the pros and cons that you're finding that you're like, okay, you know what, I got to switch this up. Have you had any of those moments with these between these 3 or 4 campaigns now that you've done?
I mean, the big thing that I've learned is that every Kickstarter is different because, you know, a lot of the stuff that I've been doing that I did with Beowulf didn't work this time around. And I think part of the thing is those Facebook algorithms are getting tougher and tougher to crack. It seems, I don't know, and I know you guys do comic books. Have you noticed that like when you're trying to promote on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, it's getting tougher and tougher?
Oh yeah. They definitely. I remember like a $30 ad on Instagram would go a long way, man. I'd get like 300 or 400 likes. You know, people are looking at my stuff. Now I'd be lucky if I get 20, 25 likes on an ad, on an actual ad that you're paying for. So yeah, it's totally they've changed it a lot, man.
Yeah. Do you know anything about like why they did that?
I don't know.
I think they're trying to force you to buy ads. That's what they're trying to
Or
do. They're
spend
trying
more
to
money
limit
on
your
ads.
exposure, and spend more money. We talked about it in the previous show where we ran some ads for Cast of Crazies, and we were getting conversions and a lot of pledges from it.
Right.
The next time I went to run that ad again for the next campaign, they deleted everything because I saved everything. They deleted it all, had me sign some stuff, and then when I tried to do the ad again, I didn't get the same result at all. We weren't getting any conversions, because they want you to spend more money. So then I was like, you know what? I'm done with that. If you're gonna play hardball, then I'm done. I'll find another means to do it. So I think what they're all doing is saying, you know what? We got all these people that are trying to buck the system, circumvent the system. Well, let's make them pay. And that's what they're trying to do. Just trying to get you to get frustrated enough where you just put up your dollars and say, I'll buy an ad.
We need a new option, I think, for social media, because it feels like everybody's frustrated, but everybody feels like, oh, well, what's the alternative? We only have 3 options.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also think that, and I don't know, it's just my theory, but I think that with comic book conventions and people being able to get out of the house now, the people that were sitting at home looking for something to do, to read, and were pledging to these campaigns, I think that slowed down also. That like people just don't, well, let me get out there. Let me actually go to the convention in Baltimore this weekend and buy some books there rather than pledge to a campaign on Kickstarter. I don't know.
I thought about that.
Maybe opening the fact that everything opened up and people aren't cooped up in the house has kind of like caused a little dip. I'm not saying it's going to go away, because I think people are still pledging to campaigns because they still want them, but I don't think that it's as big as or more people are spending the money that they were spending during quarantine,
right.
during the when we were inside. So I don't know, maybe that has to do with it, and also the fact that there's so many campaigns.
There's so many campaigns, and I've also seen a lot of people my age. So I'm 40 now.
Mm-hmm.
So this is about the age where it seems like people start to say, you know what, do I really need Twitter and Facebook? And I've noticed a lot more people getting off of the social media platforms.
Yeah.
So that's bad news for us though.
Yeah.
It's probably good news for them, but at least psychologically.
Yeah.
But it's if you're using social media to sell stuff, and when people talk badly about social media, they forget that social media is what has caused this boom in independent comic books.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's what, we couldn't afford to put like a $2,000, $3,000 ad in a magazine, but we can put stuff on Facebook,
Sure. And even the way we find artists, or the way we find people to collaborate with, right, is through social media. You look at somebody's, Instagram post and you see their artwork, you're like, yo, that's some nice art, let me see if this guy's interested, right? Before it used to be like, hey, either you saw him at a show, or can you email me a portfolio, or you have deviant art, like that kind of stuff. And social media has definitely opened up those lines of communications between artists all over the world. So like now we're talking about people in Brazil, in the Philippines, and in Europe, so yeah. So that's definitely opened up a lot of things, like you said, Grant, for the indie creator.
I always think about the fact that what's his name, the guy who did Walking Dead,
Robert Kirkman.
Yeah, Robert Kirkman.
Mm-hmm.
His house was on the verge of getting foreclosed on when he finally had a hit with Invincible.
Damn.
Yeah.
Because like he took out so many loans and used his house as collateral to fund these comic books that he was making, and Invincible was the first one that was popular.
Yeah.
So, I always think about that. Like whenever I start to get aggravated with social media, and I'm like, oh God, why do I have to put up with these people? That's what I always think about. I think like, what, if not for social media, I'd be paying to print these comic books out of pocket.
Yeah, it's a means to an end, unfortunately. It's almost like, you want to say all these cliches, like it's a necessary evil and all of that other fun stuff. But
Absolutely.
listen, I think you're doing phenomenal. You've actually had a nice run, even with the Beowulf. Like I know, a lot of people backed it, and even now, man, 72 people. That's a lot of people that have actually, backed the project, and we're hoping to make it more, because I definitely want you to reach your goal, because this looks fun, man. It's I personally like horror. I'm a big fan of horror and just creepy stuff. So this is right up my alley, man.
So statistically speaking, if you're 70% of the way funded with 12 days to go, statistically speaking, you're more likely to get funded.
There you go.
So we'll see if that holds out.
It must.
Yeah, I just think you just got to keep doing what you're doing. And you got to remember, you said it earlier, Beowulf is very different. This is an anthology, and there are people who are fans of anthology, and there are people who are not. And they just want a full book. So you're playing in two different markets. So now take whatever you learned from this experience and capitalize on the wins and eliminate some of the things that didn't work. Because what you're doing right now is you're data mining, right? You're gathering data. You're seeing what works, what doesn't work. You're playing here in this sandbox, that sandbox. You can only get stronger from this experience.
I think you're right.
Absolutely, brother. Hey, Grant, which one is your favorite cover?
I think I got to go with mine, the trench coat killer, the blue and red one.
Yeah, with the knife coming out of the comic. That's nice.
It's a cool drawing.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
I love the angle.
Yeah.
The angle's
I
cool.
love the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the angle's cool. I like. I'm big on the look at the background, like even with the again the shadow.
Even the
behind
colors. I mean, how you muted it with the blues. You still had the shades and the lighting effect, but the boy pops out and the knife pops out with the pop of color. It's a smart approach to that design.
I also like the almost like the cover within the cover, because he's holding the cover of the cover that he's reading.
Yeah, he's holding himself getting jacked. Yeah, that's the clue. That was your first clue.
You have to suspend your disbelief a little bit. You're like, okay, why would he pick up a comic book that has him on the cover of it? Yeah. That's all right. You can suspend your disbelief.
Yeah, that's all right. Hey, listen, man, that's not good. It's like that's not gonna happen to me, So yeah, no, it's cool. But yeah, no, Grant. So what else you have? Okay, so I know you say you're working on Beowulf. What else are you working on? What are some of your other projects that you have coming up?
So right now, I'm really just trying to put out Beowulf. Beowulf is a 6-issue storyline. After that 6 issues, I have other ideas. One of the big things that I want to experiment with is, because the story of Beowulf involves reincarnation, I can tell Beowulf stories throughout time. I can tell like an Old West Beowulf. I can tell a Viking Beowulf. I can tell Victorian Beowulf. All types of cool stuff like that.
Nice.
Maybe disco Beowulf. I don't know.
That's in the plans. That's in the plans.
Honestly, I just thought of that while I was talking.
Cool. And then obviously, more the memoir anthology is something that you can also continue.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, like it says on the cover, it says semi-annual. I just put semi-annual on there just in case there was a year that I don't want to put it out. Correct. But yeah, I think that's the great thing about it. The idea is kind of like so broad. Yeah. I can do anthologies. I can do anthologies once a year, like for eternity, right?
Yeah. I was actually thinking that because it's October and it deals with like the Morbid, it could always be like almost like a Halloween anthology where it comes out every October. Yeah. So people can just expect it on October when it comes out. But yeah, no, this looks dope. I really do enjoy the like we were talking about the cover art, but also just the interior art for these stories. I Kisses Cold as the Grave. I love the look of it because it does give you that throwback to the old school, almost like novellas, right. The things that you would like that kind of artwork. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, man, every single one of these, dude, like it's hard to pick because you can pick whichever one. Do you have any? Do they come as add-ons? Like, so if you wanted another cover for it. Okay, cool.
Oh, for sure. You can do the tier where you get all 5 covers. Those are my favorite people. If they want all 5 covers, then there are some people you can just get 1 cover, and then if you want like 2 or 3, you can get an add-on.
Gotcha. And then I also see here you have a Chrome cover. So tell us about the Chrome cover that you have here.
So the Chrome is, that's kind of self-explanatory. It's just going to have the background is going to be like blue Chrome, and then the lettering is going to be like red.
Oh shoot! And that's just for the one, right? Or do they all come like that?
Yeah, I didn't want to do every cover. I didn't want to figure out like a different tier for every cover. So there's only one comic book that is going to come in Chrome.
Gotcha. And then you have the what's script ready or script read?
So one of our friends, one of the guys who worked on this, Ian, offered to do, like, if you're a young comic book creator and you want him to look over your script, he'll do that for $60.
Oh, cool. All right. That's awesome. And then you also have prints. You have all 5 8x10 prints. So say, for example, you just want the prints of the covers themselves. Now, the prints obviously are virgin prints, right? They don't have the lettering and
right.
Nice. Yeah, these would actually be really cool as prints, actually, too. All right,
yeah,
so there are definitely options. There are definitely options here, Grant. So that is awesome. And again, for those watching, go to Kickstarter right now. Check out Memoirs of the Morbid and pledge to it. We're trying to get Grant funded, and you're not too far, man. You're about 29% away. So
it's definitely not a done deal, but
right.
I think it's likely at this point.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I'm going to have to keep pushing.
Yeah, and hey, Kickstarter is one of those things where it's all or nothing. So if we want this in our hands, we have to pledge to it. So for everybody watching, make sure you pledge, share it with your friends after you've pledged, and let's get this thing funded, man. Let's get this thing funded. You got 12 days.
12 days to go. You got this,
That's
buddy.
Right.
And so how can people reach you?
Grant Lankard is a pretty distinct name. So I think you guys pronounced it a different way every time you said my name. That's okay. It doesn't bother me.
That's probably just me. and it was just George that did that.
but anyways, if you search for Grant Lankard on any social media platform, it should come up. Whether it's Twitter, Instagram. Oh, and also go to my website, monarchpublishing.net. You can get a free sample of Memoirs of the Morbid.
Cool.
You put in your email address, and it'll send you a PDF of 5 pages of one of the stories.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Yes. All right.
Awesome.
Cool. I'm gonna just call you GL from now on. That's it. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm just.
What's up,
I actually don't care.
Grant,
thought it was funny.
Yes.
Thank you so much, man. You've been great. And listen, well, let us know when you have something else, because we'll just pop you right back on and we'll talk about it some more.
Yeah, thanks guys so much. I mean, you guys have been really helpful, both with Beowulf and this one.
Yeah, no, you got it, man. You got to support
what we're here
each other,
for, brother. That's what we're here for.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. All right, guys. So make sure you pledge. Grant, thank you so much for being on the show, and we'll see you soon, man. We'll see you online, man.
Thank you so much, guys.
You got it, brother.
All right, brother. Take care.
Bye.
All right. So that was Grant Lankard, and that's Memoirs of the Morbid. It's really cool, really great concept. I mean, the art put a lot of detail and thought into the art. The covers are pretty dope. If you haven't checked it out, the link is in the summary. In fact, the whole time we're talking, I never even put it in the chat. But so here's the link in the chat. Dang, Sam, here it is. But it's also in the summary. So there's the link for Memoirs of the Morbid. Check it out. Definitely really, really cool. The guy's putting out some good stuff. I know his first campaign he canceled. And then from that point on, he just
killing it.
Took off. His next 2 campaigns were on fire, and now he's trying a different project, and he's learning all about this. But I don't see why he wouldn't be able to make his goal.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got it. He's got another pledge. He's at 73 backers, so that's good.
Right. All
You
right.
know, so, yeah,
There you go.
so-
Thank you guys. Thank you everybody
Yes,
for
thank you
doing
all.
that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, so that's
See,
pretty cool.
this is what makes people want to come back on the show, because they know that our supporters, our watchers, you know, our Michael Sammartinos, our, you know, Sebastian Bonets, and you know, I haven't seen Crystal on here for a while, but I know
haven't
Crystal
seen her in
has.
a long time. She
I
left
know.
us.
They definitely support. They definitely support the indies, man. They definitely support the indies.
Yeah.
So that's awesome, man. I'm glad. Because good stuff. You know, Grant, hey, listen, very creative. I enjoyed the horror talk. You know, it sounds like he really enjoys that. That
Arelis.
genre. Oh, look
Hola,
at this,
¿cómo
Arelis.
estás?
Arelis, what's happening? So yeah, so Grant had good. So we got 73 backers. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
And then so segueing into that, if you guys haven't yet, make sure you follow the landing/launch page for Forbidden, which will be out November 1st. November 1st. It's 30 days, right? You're doing that for 30 days?
30 days, and it's the first time I'm doing it on both Indiegogo and Kickstarter
That's
simultaneously.
Right. Forgot about that.
So you have an exclusive cover for Indiegogo that you're not going to get on Kickstarter, and vice versa. You have an exclusive Kickstarter cover. So the Kickstarter cover is done by Anibal Arroyo, as he did the first 2 issues. So it was just fitting for him to do the cover for the third issue, the third issue, which is issue 2. And then Prime Santra has the cover for the Indiegogo one, and he's the interior artist as well. So yeah, then you have the first volume, the graphic novel. So if anybody who missed the first campaigns, who doesn't want to get a floppy and prefers to have a book, well, you get the first volume. It's going to be packed with a lot of good stuff. There's an homage cover to Kingdom Come done by me that's going to be available. There's a variant cover done by John Coates. And also, I've partnered with Philip Russert, and he is the creator of Tragedy. Very successful campaign. He had a lot of top-tier artists that work with him on this book. He and I, we did a crossover promotion. I did the piece. He is being colored by his team. And we're going to offer it as a stretch goal. So if I get to 75 backers, my backers will get a digital print of it, and same thing on his end. So it's really dope. It's a crossover piece of Forbidden and Tragedy. Third issue 2. You know it. You know how I do. It's that is conspiracy.
Oh,
You know how I do. I confuse myself. Huh?
Johnny Syfax is watching the show. Big shout out to Johnny.
Oh, Johnny, say something.
He did. It's weird because he's on Facebook and he just said, "What up, my brothers?" But it just came out as a comment rather than live on this thing here. So I'm not sure
interesting.
Why.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know.
What's
But,
up, Johnny? Thank you for supporting. Johnny, if you didn't watch the Crazy Channel last, I shouted you out in that, so you need to go and watch it. The last
Giving
episode.
You props. Giving you props with some ideas.
Same thing to you,
Some
Hector
marketing
Rodriguez. I shouted you out on that show too.
Third issue 2. Yo, Mike. Hey, listen. Big
Yes,
shout
you
out to Michael
can. If you want both covers, you can definitely back both campaigns. Absolutely.
Yo, Michael Sammartino. We had him on the show. We finally saw him. We haven't met him.
One of the
face-to-face, but we
freaking
finally
highest
saw him.
ranked shows.
Dude, killing it
I
right
said,
now.
how many people did you go to a school and like hold them at gunpoint and tell them all to
Bro.
log on?
Whoa. The views of Sam Vera do not reflect those of Catch the Craze. What are we doing here?
Freeze!
Yo. Guess I'm knocking on my closet.
La
door,
Huda,
bro.
La Huda.
Like, come out the closet. Anyway. So yeah, I don't know what you did, Mike, but yeah, no, definitely.
What's that? That 214?
216, I don't even know.
Yeah,
This
it was
guy's
crazy.
just killing it right
Yes.
now. Hopefully that's the sale of the book has been also positive. Mike, let us know. For those who don't know, Technigods is the name of the book we're talking about. Technigods.com. Check it out. It's a book about Mike never gave us the elevator pitch. No.
217 views, yes.
Yeah, look at that.
Oh, Critical Blast. What's up, Critical Blast?
What up? You know what it is? I think it's the 8 o'clock hour. Like 8 o'clock.
It is. I
when
told you
people are
that.
like,
People
"Yo,
only come
let's
out at
just
8
come
o'clock.
out." Yeah. The freaks
That's
come
why
out at
we
8
do.
o'clock.
That's what we
That's what it
do.
is.
The launch parties at 8 because that's when everybody's allowed to go outside and play. Okay, you ate your dinner now. You can go outside for a little bit with your friends.
But if you missed the 7 o'clock hour, make sure you go to Kickstarter and pledge to our friend Grant Lankard, Memoirs of the Morbid. So check that out. Go to Kickstarter. The link is somewhere on here, and it's going to be in the
It's in the chat.
what is
I
that
put it
called?
in the chat, and it's
Oh, it
also
is there.
in the summary of this show.
Summary. Why can't I never remember the summary.
The show notes.
By the way, we just got another subscriber while we were on the air, so we're at 441.
Really?
Celebration.
We
Yes.
did.
Hopefully it
Wow.
stays there after we're off. But yeah, 441 right now. So let's keep it going, man. Tell your
Wow.
friends. Tell your friends.
I didn't even see that. I didn't even get an
Yeah.
alert.
It just, I don't know. It just crept up. I just saw 440. I was like, what?
Oh wow! Well, good. Thank you, whoever you are, because you know some of the subscribers, they have their accounts private, so I can't
Silent
shout
mode.
them out. But thank you, whoever you are. We appreciate you.
Yeah. Sweet. But yeah, so we have it's going to be the week of Forbidden on November 1st because we also have a live show that day. So we're going to be bombarding you with some Forbidden stuff. If you guys have Forbidden questions, if you've read the first 2 books, issue 0 and issue 1, and you have some questions, log on November 1st and ask Sammy. Ask Sammy.
I'm telling you, this issue is 32 pages. It is fuego. The artwork is crazy. Barbara's killing it with the colors. The pages are epic. I mean, it's like you know how do you say it? It just builds and builds and builds and gets better and better.
How you say it?
How do you
How you
say
say
it?
that?
It's it.
How you say it?
How do you say? ¿Cómo se dice?
Como se dice? Yes.
Yeah, but no, it gets better and better. This one is 32. The next one after this is 34.
This guy, he just got to keep.
Yo, the next one is
This
34.
probably should have been. Yeah, this probably should have been like a 12-page,
Or
12 issue
37.
run.
Yeah, I know. It should have been a 12 issue run. I
It
just,
should have been like a.
I started typing I said, oh, that's too many pages. But it's too bad because I need it because I need that ending.
Bro, that's the beauty of being an independent.
Yeah.
Right? There are no restrictions. You're not restricted by a page count. You're not restricted by time. When does this have to come out? It comes out when it comes out. It's as long as it has to be. And that's it.
Yes.
As long as you can afford the artist to draw all those pages, you're good to go, bro.
Yeah, and
You are
I
good to go.
paid the artist when I was employed before I became a brokepreneur. So I paid him 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago I paid that artist. So that was already done. So the only one I'm paying now is the colorist, and she just finished the fourth issue, which is book 4, which is issue 5. No, book 5, which is issue 4. You know, something.
You don't even know anymore.
Something like that. I'm never gonna start with issue 0 again.
Yo, it's a wrap.
That's
a wrap,
it.
dude.
No more
It's a
issue
wrap.
zeros for me.
No mas. No mas. Yo, Michael said that he spread the word. He was knocking on doors in his neighborhood, grassroots.
Yes.
Could you imagine if you see this guy knocking on your door talking about, hey, listen, there's a podcast that's coming on right now.
I'm
Can you
setting
log
out
on
my
and check
pit
it out?"
bulls. Get him.
Holy cow. Oh, man. But yeah, no, it's gonna be something else. So yeah, you guys definitely want to check it out. Definitely want to log on November 1st and be some of the first. Are you doing anything for first day backers or?
Yes, it's
what's
gonna
happening?
be. I'm working on that now. I'll announce it on the day of. Actually, I'll announce it the week of. So the week of the 7 days leading, I'm gonna do a countdown to it. And in fact, the 27th, we're going to be live doing a Halloween costume party online. You want to join us on the 27th? It's going to be us and the Raging Cajuns. It's
Raging
Meredith
ABCC.
and Nita, and we're going to be dressed up. We're doing Halloween on the 27th, so you want to join us,
Halloween
27th, 8
special.
p.m.
Halloween party.
Eastern Standard Time, right here on Catch the Craze and on Raging Cajun. We're doing a live stream. We're linked up our streams, so it's going to be on their channel and our channel simultaneously.
We are crossing streams.
Yeah,
That's
we're
right.
crossing streams, right? And it's gonna be awesome.
right.
And George is gonna be in costume and
right.
George, don't just put on like one of those glasses with the nose and a mustache. You're there to go in.
What do you mean?
George will come over. He goes, I got it. He's going to have the glasses with the nose and the mustache.
With the nose. I mean, you can only see this much of me. I mean, I'm going to be wearing a top and no bottom. That's going to be my
George is coming in
costume.
as RuPaul. You better work.
Yeah, so tune in on the 27th. Raging ABC and Catch the Craze.
Yes,
we're going to do.
And if you haven't checked out,
and
if you haven't checked out their show, they're really good. They have a lot of great gems on their show. They talk about a lot of cool things. Who's Cliff? Oh, Cliff. Oh, Viejo. I know. Son of a
punk. The one
punk.
you hate. The punk. Yeah,
oh.
the one you keep calling the punk. Like the hero, bro.
Yes,
Actually,
I'll be doing issue 2 soon,
soon.
Michael. I'll be doing issue 2 soon on What's in the Box. So look for that.
Oh,
that's going to be coming
snap.
up. So he better not. I haven't read it yet. So if he falls asleep again, I'm burning it.
Maybe he's got that disorder that makes him fall. What is it? Narcolepsy? What is it? Maybe he's got that. Bro.
No, true story. I'm not going to mention his name. I'm not going to blow him up.
Shoot.
But in high school, in high school things happen. In high school, I had beef. We had beef. My brother had beef, and so my brother came to me because I had a lot of friends. And he's like, hey, these guys, they're harassing my girlfriend. Can you come with me? I said, sure. I went to my boy, and I got all my boys. And then when I got to one who was one of my closest friends, and I said, yo, we're leaving. Let's go. And he said, where are we going? I said, we're heading into the city. He said, for what? I said, I'll tell you when we get on the train. So we start walking. He starts asking around. And they're like, yeah, we got beef with this squad from Brooklyn. And when we got on the train, he was gone.
Wow.
That is Cliff. That's Cliff. He's like, I think my mama's calling me.
That's Cliff.
That's Cliff.
Wow. Damn.
Yes.
Holy cow.
Yes. But that's what happens when you're in high school, growing up in Jamaica, Queens. Things like that happen. The Warriors.
Jamaica, Queens. Hey, listen, we got 4 now. We got a few people watching right now. So if you are watching, okay, give us a little wave if you've already followed the landing/launch page of Forbidden.
Yes.
And if you have not, Sam's going to put the link in the chat.
Oh, yeah.
At which time you guys will go.
I forgot about that, man.
You guys will go and you guys will follow the launch / I call it a launch page. Sam calls it a landing page. Just follow the page so that you get that alert when that thing goes live. So if you're watching right now and you've already done so, let us know. Give us a little thumbs up, waves, whatever, fire emojis, whatever the heck it is.
So this is Kickstarter?
Yes. If you have not, then go. And yeah, exactly. If you're Team Kickstarter, there it is. If you're Team Indiegogo,
here it comes.
It's up there for you as well. So it depends on which one you like.
So pick your poison,
doing a little experiment.
Because
experiment.
I would like to acknowledge that, I've seen backers come and go. Like, they didn't translate from campaign to campaign on Kickstarter. But for Forbidden, I have, and I just want to say thank you to those of you on Indiegogo who have come back for the second issue. They were consistent on Indiegogo. On Kickstarter, it fluctuates. They come, they go, they come, they go. They don't come back for the next one. But on Indiegogo, they've been consistent. So it's really interesting. While I don't get the same number of backers on Indiegogo as Kickstarter, the ones who are supporting have been very loyal to the book. So thank you. I appreciate you.
Yeah, on Sunday night, I was home, who also has a Kickstarter right now for his book called The Oswald Chronicles.
The Oswald
so
Chronicles.
if you guys want to check that out.
And he made his goal in 24 hours.
That's right. So big shout out to
24
JD
hours.
Calderon. He also has a YouTube channel you guys should check out, Indie Comics Explained. And he had a group of independent artists. Meredith from Raging AVC was on there. And one of the topics was, why is it that people pledge to that first Kickstarter but then don't come back? And Meredith made a pretty interesting point. She said some people are just issue 1 collectors. That's all they want.
But I started out with 0.
Issue.
What happened? You should have came back for 1 too.
You messed up. You confused them. You confused them. 0. The hell? Negativo. No.
They were like this. They hit the button like, oh, wait, what? Why does that say? Is that a 0?
So Michael looks like he's following the page. So Mike's following the page. Thank you,
Gracias.
Michael. Muchas gracias, amigo.
I'm almost
but yeah, so
done.
I don't know. So what happened?
I've been drinking.
Son.
I'm done.
Damn.
Stella Rosa, red.
Jeez.
Yeah, I needed this, man. I've been working hard. He works
working
hard
hard.
for the money.
Been working hard. Listen, tomorrow we have 2 more live shows, and hopefully tomorrow we actually do have both live shows.
Yeah,
so
tomorrow our guest will be
Yes.
Jason Lennox, who has his
Jason
Kickstarter
Lennox.
for the Satanic Coloring Book.
holla
And-
at your boy.
Yes, and we have D. Wayne, and he's going to be talking about his Wake Comics. So
That's
that's
right. Blood Sable is one of the. Actually, Blood Sable. John Kosis, who is the artist on one of the variant covers on Forbidden, is the artist on that book for Dwayne. So you don't want to miss that tomorrow. We're going to be talking to him, and we actually were supposed to have him a few weeks back, but we had some technical difficulties and had to move them.
Yeah. Who?
Aldi has a coconut wine that is delicious. You been to Aldi's yet or not?
Aldi's? No, I haven't
Yeah.
been to Aldi's yet. I actually I got this wine at Walmart. Yo, they have a big wine selection. I went to Walmart
sure
because
they
I
do.
had to get like pet
Right-
stuff.
Right
And-
next to the guns. Right
And then
next
I
to
was
the
like,
guns.
yeah, I was like, right next to the, yeah, so the pistoles. And so I was like, oh, look, they have, and it's very inexpensive. I was like, oh, it's cheaper than Whole Foods.
Yo, let me ask you a question. Do you wake up with headaches after you have,
No.
inexpensive wine?
Oh, it's like coquito, icy. Wow, nice. Nice.
You don't get
I gotta
headaches.
try
You
it.
don't get headaches from cheap wine.
No.
No. Okay.
Well, because I get, this is like a dessert wine. It's a sweet wine.
No, it's like a cooking wine.
Yeah, and it's not, I think, yes, they sell beer at Chuck E. Cheese and wine at CVS here. Damn.
Yo.
Wine and bullets.
Say
Wine and
word.
bullets. That's what they sell. No. I mean, I buy these bottles for me, and then if I have people over, I have,
The more,
Yes.
the good stuff.
Yeah.
So for those who are watching but don't know what the heck we're saying, damn. So Arelis Delgado, big shout out to her. She also watches the show, and
she's also
thank you very much for watching.
She's also a supporter of
Big time.
what we do. Thank you. We appreciate you.
Yes, big time. She says that she also lives in Texas, and they sell beer at Chuck E. Cheese and wine at CVS. It's crazy.
Yes.
So yeah.
Cray.
It's a different world out there.
Yeah.
Where they barely sell anything at actual liquor stores here in the New York area sometimes. So to say that you have wine at CVS, that's interesting.
I mean, you go anywhere there's wine. I'm like, holy crap. Look
It's
at
true
this.
though. It's true because if you go to Illinois, you go into a regular food, just a regular supermarket, and they'll have a nice selection of spirits and things. So yeah, it's very, very different, man.
Yeah, and I don't know if you ever had this, Arelis, but Bubba's fried chicken.
Yeah,
No.
You should be a spot. You should be a spokesperson. For
I'm
that,
gonna
bro.
go to Bubba's. I'm gonna film it. I'm
Seriously.
gonna interview the owner. Bubba's fried chicken is no joke.
You freaking should, bro. We need some sponsors. Go talk to Bubba. Be like, yo, my man, I talk about your stuff all the time on the show.
time.
all right? Throw a couple of bucks
Yeah.
our way.
Throw a
Help
couple
us
of
fund this thing.
buckets of chicken.
This kid's gonna get paid in buckets of chicken.
I was a
God damn,
Yo.
dog. What the hell? Oh no, I gotta try it. Actually, I definitely have to try it.
Yes, you got no,
Ain't no Fuddruckers.
mother fudders. Fuddruckers. Never again. Been there once. Hated it.
shit.
Was it Living
Yeah.
Color? Hated it.
Hated it. Yo, Adele says, "Is that the place that looks like a barn?"
No. Does it look like a barn? No.
He doesn't even
No.
know. He just goes in there with his
No.
eyes closed, like I'm gonna go get some chicken.
Oh man, I just had my sister-in-law bought a bucket. She bought buckets. She knows I love Bubba's chicken, so they came over for dinner. They bought Bubba's chicken with them, and it had the collard greens, it had the mashed potatoes, and they had the cherry cobbler for dessert, and their biscuits.
Done.
It's like a sweet bread.
Look at you. You're in a
She
food
bought a
coma already.
bucket. I just finished it today. This was 3 days ago. They came over. I just finished it today. I had it for lunch and dinner every day.
Jesus Christ.
You just put it in a toaster oven and it comes out nice and crispy again. And like,
This kid's gonna start clucking one of these
Yeah,
figure shows.
no,
He's
quack
like,
quack waddle waddle. Yo, this
oh
it
my
was.
God.
Yo, Bubba's no joke.
Crazy. Crazy.
Yeah, but yeah, you gotta have that. It's you just gotta be careful out here because the food, they give you big portions, and you can wind up looking like a roly. I'll look like Alf back there if I don't stop. So yeah, I have to keep on.
Say everything is bigger in Texas,
Yeah,
right? So
I think I gotta shave soon. My beard is getting out of control.
Oh man. Anyway, what else you got, Sam? What else you got?
What else we got? Let's see. So I'm also live on Thursday. So we have 2 live shows tomorrow. So we have Jason Lennox and D Wayne, and then on Thursday we have the team behind a very successful campaign on Kickstarter called Snowpaw. It's Robert Moltari and Mog Park. I don't know if you mentioned that already. You probably did.
No, I didn't.
That Thursday, 8 o'clock p.m. So join me to talk about they're killing it. I forgot. Where are they now? Snow.
Over 11 G's. I'll tell you that much.
They are almost at $12,000 right now.
Love it.
On a goal of 10,000 with 400 backers and 15 days to go. My prediction: $18,000 to $20,000 they'll do within that time, or more. But so they're going to be on the show on Thursday. And Jason Lennox, how's he doing with his? Jason Lennox.
So just so you guys know, Snowpaw is got 400 backers. It's a 19th century Scottish female werewolf fantasy.
Yeah, and Jason Lennox has $9,600 dollars already in on a goal of 2,500 with 19 days to go and 218 backers. These guys are killing it.
I thought you were gonna say he's got 9,600 backers. I was like, what?
Imagine.
Guys never
It's like Todd
fulfilled any of
McFarlane.
those.
You gotta hire a company to do that stuff. Imagine I'm like this with the stamps, like I gotta pack all these.
They would hate you.
Oh.
They would hate you, bro.
Oh,
so it's gonna be a fun couple of days coming up. Jeez,
Yes.
he killed it. He blasted past his $2,500 goal.
Yeah.
What are your secrets, guys? What are your secrets? What are you doing differently? I know. We've had him on the show before. So Jason he hustles, man. He's got a huge mailing list that he has divided, and he's got whether it's people he's met at conventions, whether it's people he met online, if it's a retailer, he's got all of these things broken down. So he's very methodical with his stuff. So it doesn't surprise me that he's done so well. But yeah, that'll be fun. Tomorrow we'll have him on the show, and we'll chat it up with him.
Yes, it's gonna be. Hold on 1 second. I'm trying to pull this up. Google.
What are you pulling up? What are you Googling? All right, I'm going to say something, and then I'm going to cut off, but I'm going to say, there it is. There it is. See how I know this guy? He's not listening. So I'm going to tell you guys, if you haven't yet, go to Webtoons and check out Russ5377. And if you haven't yet, go to Instagram and follow my Wonder Duck page, because it's on there. That's right. What do you got? What
so
you
Bubba's is in Mesquite, Texas.
Googling Bubba's. Yo, dude, you're making me hungry. I'm about to go eat something right now.
You gotta try Bubba's if you're in Texas. So anyway, we appreciate every single one of you. Thank you, Sebastian Bonet from Nerds of the Round, for showing up tonight. Thank you, Michael San Martino, Critical Blast, and Arelis. Thank you all for joining us. And again, don't forget, give us a thumbs up if you like this episode. Subscribe, hit that like button, hit the bell so you'll be alerted for every time we go live and we have a new episode coming down the pike. If you missed it, watch the Crazy Channel list that just came out talking about how to make your money. Back from a Comic-Con. My mic is gonna fall. I gotta hold on to this. And with that said, hit that landing page. The link is in the file. I'm Sam, the Crazy Man Vera.
George the Shima Medina. Peace.
And we are.
It's just easy. It's not.
Crazy. Acquiesce.
No, it's talking about my friend Acquiesce. I met him. Say my name, right?
This is what you were thinking? Oh, my.
He described me. He said, I'm the.
What? Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. To Catch the Craze. You are listening to Catch the Craze on Kids Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze.